Hey everyone, and welcome to The Beatdown. So today I want to talk about all these WWE guys coming in and invading Impact Wrestling, because Impact Wrestling has had a history of WWE stars coming in and getting pushed to the top. So my question now, because we are under a new regime of Don Callis and Scott D'Amore, who are now the people in charge, how are they doing? Are they committing the same mistakes as the people before them? And that's the topic I want to talk about. So let's start with the person who actually went to the top, my favorite wrestler, Deonna Purrazzo. She's actually a perfect example of a WWE star coming in and going all the way to the top. How do you feel about that?
Well, analytically speaking, I feel like that one in particular was a good choice. Why? Because we already had Jordynne Grace as champion. We already had Taya as champion. Jessica Havoc, Rosemary, Susie, they've got their stuff going on in the Undead realm. And other than that, we've just got new knockouts like Kimberly, Nevaeh, but Nevaeh's tag teaming with Havoc, so she's out of the picture. So really, the only knockouts I can think of being in the title shot right now is pretty much the way it's happening. Kylie Rae's #1 contender, Jordynne Grace getting her rematch, and it's a new face having the champion. I don't like Deonna Purrazzo, but she's a new face. So in this case, this is one that I agree with.
But aren't you a Jordynne Grace fan, and now you're taking Deonna Purrazzo's side? You like Jordynne, so why are you actually agreeing with this move of a WWE star coming in and taking her spot? Because Jordynne was #1. Jordynne was the women's knockout champion. She actually was champion for such a little bit of time. And you're okay with someone just coming in and taking the spotlight?
No, I'm not okay with the fact that Jordynne Grace lost. I feel like she had a short reign with the champion. She definitely should have won that match at Slammiversary. I don't think Jordynne Grace should have lost that Slammiversary, but realistically speaking, I don't see who else would have been the one to defeat Jordynne Grace.
She could have stayed as a champion.
She could have, but
she could have won against Deonna and made her work for it.
She could have, but you know, like you said, you know, I think analytically speaking again, from a business perspective, it really seems like Impact has been using the marketing of WWE wrestlers coming onto the set in their favor. So I think that's why they did it.
So I'm a Deonna Purrazzo fan, and I'm okay with this happening, but in this case, but that's only because Deonna Purrazzo is a star. Like, if you look at her, her mic work is really good. Her in-ring work is really good. So I feel like she actually is worthy of coming in and being at the top, because she is also a fresh face, and I like that.
And now that you mention it, I mean, I don't like her as a character or her character's personality, but as a wrestler, she did perform some good submission moves in her recent matches. And you can tell that she's worked on her moves, because you can just tell she locks it in at the right angles. She locks it in at the, you know, you can tell that she's putting her prey in a suffering situation when she's in the ring.
We also had Erick Young come in. He was originally with Impact, but then he went to WWE for a bit, and now he's back at Impact. And he inserted himself into the main event. So another example of a WWE guy coming in and getting pushed to the top. But in his case, thankfully, he didn't win at Slammiversary, or else I would have been mad. But he is kind of injecting himself into the spotlight.
Now, like you just said, he did come in and show up for the main event, but he did not take the championship gold. He did not win, and I'll agree, he's having a lot of screen time right now, but it's not because of the championship, it's because of his current rivalry, and I don't know, whatever he has against Rich Swann. To me, this is just a normal case of them starting a new storyline. Has nothing to do with coming from WWE, and like you said, he was an Impact original to begin with.
Okay, he's a different case. But how about the Good Brothers, who are now part of an important storyline against, I consider, well, Ace Austin to be, you know, at the top of the food chain, and they are in a storyline with Ace Austin. Another example of them coming in, a WWE star coming in and injecting themselves into a main storyline. In this case, I do like it. Like, you know, they're not being pushed too over the top. I still like that Ace is getting priority, but it's kind of working out good. Like, it just seems to be a perfect balance of Ace and Madman Fulton versus the Good Brothers. Not one of them is getting pushed higher than the other, and the Good Brothers are not receiving preferential treatment because they do come from WWE, and I really like that. So I think this is a good way of how Impact is handling this scenario with the WWE stars coming in. They're coming in, they're being injected into main events, main storylines, but they're not getting an over-the-top boost like they used to a couple years ago.
I don't think the Good Brothers are all that. I mean, I don't think they have a high key role in Impact. Honestly, I think Ace should have just been kept as a solo wrestler instead of tag teaming with Fulton. I think Ace could have had Fulton in his back pocket without being in tag team wrestling game, because, you know, this tag team stuff is new to Ace Austin on Impact. And I just think he's better as a solo wrestler. But you gotta remember, Ace Austin is not the champion. So you can't say, oh, the Good Brothers are coming in and they're at the top. Because at the top is going for the tag team champions in their scenario. So again, in this case, you know, I think something's being done wrong here. I think a better opponent for the Good Brothers would be TJP and Fallah Bahh, actually.
So right now it sounds like you're saying that they should have worked their way up. So they should start at the bottom against TJP and Fallah Bahh?
No, I mean, that's not what I'm saying exactly.
It sounds like that's what you're saying, that they should have started maybe a rivalry with them instead of someone who's at the top like Ace Austin.
But why is Ace Austin at the top? Tell me why in my mind, Ace Austin is not at the top.
To me, he's at the top.
He's a main eventer, but he's not the champion.
He's championship material.
Of course, without a doubt.
So to me, Ace Austin could be the next John Cena for Impact Wrestling if they wanted to give him that push to the top.
I don't think you can compare Ace Austin to John Cena, because John Cena was, if I remember correctly, he was mostly the good wrestler, like a fan favorite, you know? And Ace Austin is more like, I mean, I like Ace Austin. I don't know if everybody else likes Ace Austin, but he's definitely a bad or a dirty character on the show.
Definitely. Well, in this case, we have the Good Brothers being injected into a good main storyline with someone who's at the top, and it's a good example of how Impact is not pushing WWE stars to the top, and they're getting a even chance to show what they can do.
Because with what you're saying, they could have just gone ahead and done Motor City Machine Guns versus the Good Brothers. That way they're both new tag teams and they both go against each other to see who's the better of the two. However, in my opinion, the Motor City Machine Guns, without a doubt, are the better tag team.
And that's a good point. They could have done that, right? Two teams that are coming in. I mean, Motor City Machine Guns was with Impact in the past, right? But they're technically kind of coming in new. They could have put them against each other, but they didn't. And I think this is a point I wanted to bring up, that Impact is doing a great job at not overshadowing their Impact Wrestling superstars with WWE ones. Instead, they're enhancing them and helping them get better. Because they are having rivalries between the Good Brothers versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton, and that just helps Ace Austin get better, Madman Fulton get better, and they're kind of like using each other in a way because they both have that good star power.
So to me, it sounds like you're saying that this matchup between these two tag teams is not in favor of the Good Brothers. It's just in favor of Ace and Madman Fulton to bring them better together and get them to work better together. Since
no, it's good for both of them. It's good for both of them. That's what I'm saying.
In my opinion, this only benefits Ace, and I hope they drop this rivalry between Ace and the Good Brothers like yesterday, because I don't really like it.
Even though the topic is on WWE, guys, Motor City Machine Guns did go somewhere else, but now they're back. So technically we could say that they kind of fall into the same category here. They got a title shot against the North and they won on their first match back, and they won. This is an example of Impact pushing new stars over the North. But I feel like in this case, it's a little different because the North had been the longest reigning tag team. So I think it was time for someone to dethrone them. And in this case, it's not bad that they pushed the Motor City Machine Guns to the top.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all, because I think you can see it in their tag team skills that they've got what it takes, and which is why they came out on top of the North. They managed to get north of the North. And
this is a great example of how they brought in some new superstars to enhance the North, because now the North has a real threat against a tag team who is considered to be the greatest of all time because they have done a lot in their past. So they're enhancing their Impact talent with this new talent that's coming in from different companies, and I really like that. They are not making the Motor City Machine Guns seem higher than the North. They actually seem like they're side by side. They're balanced. I don't feel the North is better than the Motor City Machine Guns, and I don't feel the Motor City Machine Guns is better than the North. And neither are getting more screen time than the other, and I really like that.
And this is one of the things I like about Impact as well, specifically, that they're always having fresh faces. Like every month, every other month, you see a lot of new superstars. For example, we haven't seen Tenille Dashwood in a while, but she was new. We haven't seen Daga lately, but you know, he was new.
And we're also getting hype right now. He was also another WWE star. His name here is going to be Bryan Myers. And I'm interested to see who he's going to feud with. Who is he going to start a rivalry with? Because it seems like there's so much going on Impact right now. And maybe that's why they haven't pushed him on TV yet. Maybe that's why they're building him up, because they know they have so much on the show right now that they don't want to overdo it. They're building momentum. And I think they're playing it smart. They're pacing. Exactly, that's a good word.
They're building momentum at a slower pace with Bryan Myers, but I'm sure they won't disappoint. So I don't know much about Bryan Myers. I've never seen him wrestle. I didn't follow him on whatever other show he was wrestling on. So I don't have much input to say. But how about a prediction? Who do you think will be Bryan Myers' rival? Who could it be?
You know who would be a good rival for this new guy, Bryan Myers? And I think it would benefit a lot for this Impact star, and you're never gonna guess who, for a reason. Heath.
So I was actually thinking that as well.
Imagine this. Right now they're building up Heath with Babe, right? Let's say he's still with him for another month or so, and maybe in 2 months, Bryan comes in, and now Heath is built up and he's able to go up against Bryan Myers, this new guy. That would be kind of interesting. Now that Heath is becoming his own character, a different version of what he was, that would actually be pretty good. It would be a great way of boosting Heath's profile on Impact and helping him go up.
Now, let me tell you why I have to disagree with you. Because I think we can both agree that right now, Heath is being built up. Even when they show him on the match cards, he looks a little bit more buff in the picture as a solo wrestler versus when he was under the shadows of the Desi Hit Squad. So obviously they're hyping up Bryan Myers too, and obviously when they make their impact on the Impact Zone, they usually are the winners. So I feel like if they do this rivalry between a character they're building up and a character they're building up, one or the other is going to get pushed back down. So for that reason, I don't think they're gonna feud.
Imagine Rohit winning against Bryan Myers. I think that would help him a lot.
That would just make Bryan Myers the future Rohit, the future clown of Impact Wrestling, the future last resort for tag team matches.
And I'm really in conflict with myself with this next guy, EC3. He's gonna get a major push when he finally shows up on Impact. And I really like him, and I really am happy it's happening. But I'm just wondering what Impact star who has been there working their butts off is gonna get dethroned so that he can take their spot.
Moose. Obviously.
That's true. Moose is gonna be a casualty here, and I don't know how I feel about this. I don't even like Moose, but I feel bad that Moose has been on Impact for so long. He's worked to where he's at. I remember when I used to see Moose, I hated him and I thought he sucked. His mic work sucked. It was like seeing bread in the toaster and waiting for it to come out. It was dry.
I mean, that's a lot of smack talking for somebody who made a very detailed Moose poster when we went to go watch Impact, and who took a picture with Moose holding up. You're a fake fan, man.
But it's gonna be interesting to see how Moose is what's gonna happen here. Is this ex-WWE guy, I mean, he was an Impact star also, but ex-WWE guy gonna come in and step on Moose? Or is Moose gonna win against EC3? I'm so torn because I really want EC3 to come in and win and be at the top. But then again, I really feel bad for Moose or any other Impact star who ends up losing against EC3 and gets pushed down. I'm really torn right now. I don't know how I feel about EC3 coming in and going to the top.
I have to disagree with you, man. I think what they're doing with EC3 is awesome. I mean, it's you know, wrestling, Impact, it's a business. So they're gonna do what the crowd wants to see. And obviously the crowd wants to see EC3. Now, I don't see it realistic that EC3 is gonna come in and go for the champion, because then they would be pushing him up, as you say. So instead of doing that, EC3 is going for Moose, which is the prop. In your own words, you say you don't believe in the Impact Heavyweight Champion. You say it's a prop. So for that reason, I disagree. I think it might be a prop, but I believe Moose has valid reasons for holding it, whether it's a prop or a title, because he did defeat all of the past TNA people, and you know, he has a valid point. So going back to what you say, it would make sense that EC3 is not going for the champion. He's going for Moose. Maybe it's because he's controlling his narrative and he's going for the biggest show off. Or Moose thinks he's all that. So I think EC3, or you know, eventually somebody, it's gonna be EC3, I'm sure, had to come in and say, Moose, sit back down.
And this is just our take on these WWE stars coming in and invading Impact.
And their character development.
I think that Impact and the people behind Impact are doing a great job at not overshadowing their Impact stars. They're really handling it good. And the times that the WWE or guys that come in from another company have won, they're doing it for a reason that makes a lot of sense. So they're not doing what they used to, which was, oh, a WWE guy comes in, he's at the top, he's gonna win the title his first night. They're not doing that anymore. And if they have done it, it's because there's a good reason for doing it. So I really like the way the people behind who are in charge of all the things that go on in the back are handling the creative process. And I hope they continue to do this for any stars that they bring in from different brands.
On the contrary, WWE wasn't giving Deonna Purrazzo the spotlight, which is why she left and came into the Impact Zone. So there's a little contradiction there. they're doing the opposite, you know? Like WWE didn't treasure what they had, and now Impact saw that flaw and they're like, hey, we like you, we want you, you're gonna be our star. Another big one,
say it again.
another big one we have coming in is Heath, which is kind of unsure if he's coming in actually or not. Yeah, awkward. But anyways, what about Heath?
You know, Heath is interesting because now for him, the opposite is actually happening of what we were just talking about. He didn't get pushed to the top. Heath is actually kind of, he's not at the bottom. He's maybe like a middle card right now, or, you know, he's bottom middle card. And he didn't get pushed to the top, and he's actually having to work his way up, which is pretty interesting that they picked Heath to do that.
Heath is Impact's tease. Heath is eager to wrestle, he's eager to be on the roster, and you know, it's being difficult for him. Heath is having a hardship. He's trying to get on the roster officially. He's trying to, you know, win the title and the roster at the same time in that match that we just saw this last week. He lost, surprisingly. Yeah, because we thought he was gonna win. Like, hey, if your contract is on the line, you have to win, you know? So yeah, it's very interesting that they're doing something different with that.
Yeah, because Heath is being injected, but at the bottom of the food chain. He didn't get like I would consider like a great storyline that's at the top. But I mean, I guess Moses, I mean, he's pretty big, right? But he's kind of working his way up. Like, they're making him work for a contract. Like, what does that tell you? That tells you that the people in the back are not just giving these wrestlers that are coming in from other companies a spaceship to the moon. They're gonna make them work for it. Unless they're really good, like the Good Brothers and Motor City Machine Guns and other stars that have actually branded themselves and are good in the ring, they're not all gonna get a shot at the top. Some of them are gonna have to work for it, like Heath. And I think that's good, right? Because it makes it seem that just because you're coming from another company, you're not just gonna go to the top. You might have to work for it if you're not like a high profile star. But these are just our thoughts. We just wanted to make this video just kind of throwing props out there, because Impact is handling the situation very good of how they're bringing in new stars. These stars, again, they're doing it because it has been bringing them a lot of attention, which is something that I think Impact wants, and it has gotten them a big boost. So I think they're going to continue to bring new stars, and I can't wait to see who else they bring in and what they do with these new characters coming in. This has been The Beatdown.